Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. We are tuning in for a new episode of Tipsy Lips Spill the Truth, the place where we get real on topics of all kinds. So, I am your host, Elena Rodriguez, and this episode is brought to you by Besitos Beauty. We are more than just luxurious lipstick, we are confidence in color. We are crushing goals, and we are all about coming back strong. So today's special guest is author of the only parenting book with a money back guarantee. You heard that. You heard that right. We've got Jeremy Roadruck here tonight, and he is going to get real and raw and talk about what really makes men tick. And so I'm going to just let you know right now, this is unscripted. We roll with it, but we also need to hear from you. We want to know who is there. Say hi. Where are you tuning in from? But chime in with questions for us, comments for us at any time. Jeremy, welcome, welcome. It is great to have you join us tonight.
Well, Elena, thank you for the opportunity. I'm glad that the fates smiled and our schedules aligned. The stars made it happen, and here we are now having an amazing conversation. Although I know we
Yes,
haven't even
yes.
started yet, but it's going
And
to be
it
awesome.
sounds like you have a storm where you are. So we'll see
Little
what
bit,
happens with that, right?
little bit.
Yeah.
There's an old saying or an old idea in Chinese culture that when important people are making things happen, the the gods, the dragons, they cry. So it's like, oh, something momentous. You
Yeah.
never know.
Yep. We have Daniela Roman here saying hello. We have yep, and she says her and Emilio just absolutely love you. So what makes men tick? Let's just dive right in.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So, yeah, men can be complicated. I know we seem pretty simple, and men can also be really simple because the simple truth is like guys play for points, and we want to be the hero, and we want to be appreciated. And if we can get those things, if we can know how to win with someone, especially the woman in our life, but if we know how to win, and then we're allowed to win, right? Then we'll do crazy stuff and we'll do amazing stuff time
what do
after
you
time
what do
after
you mean
time.
by allowed to win when you're allowed to win?
So I have been working with, men, women, couples, families, kids close to 30 years, and I've
Okay.
seen people in a variety of life circumstances and complexities. And a lot of times something won't be done exactly 100% perfect to the nth degree. It might be like, a couple of degrees off. And a lot of times mom will not give or wife will not give the reward, won't give the acknowledgement, the praise, the points because it wasn't perfect.
Perfect.
I've told you it has to be perfect. And it's like, yeah, but we're like 95%. Can we get some love? No, because it's not perfect. It's like son of a biscuit. So like when I used to teach kung fu, and we would teach the kids self-discipline, which we have a definition for. Self-discipline is when I tell me to do what I'm supposed to do, no matter if I like it or not. And I would always ask the parents, would it be okay with you if I gave you a hack to just win with your kids and cut down the arguing and explaining on cleaning up? And the parents were like, yeah, please. I was like, cool. Is there an area of your house that you guys have conflict over? Yes. Shoes, the toys, the bookcases, book bags and things. I'm like, awesome. Find a spot. And here's what you're going to do. You're going to clean it up together. And you're going to tell the kids, here's what this goes here, this goes there, here's why. And then when you're done, you take a picture. And then you print that picture out and you laminate it. And it's about an 8 by 10 picture. And you hang it right next to that spot. And then you might have to ask the kids, hey, does the picture match reality? Can you make those? And then you set a timer, put some music on, do a 5 minute power clean, 10 minute power clean. But the kids can see it and they can get you 85, 90, 95% accurate. And maybe you have to tweak a little bit. But all you have to do is remind them to take action and then they will. And then you get your result.
Mhm.
Is that okay with you if they're 95% accurate? Because then you can begin to get forward momentum and you'll get people taking action on the things you want. And then I'm like, and ladies, this works with husbands too. Because like guys can like we can keep our tools organized and we know where everything is. We can have the mess in the garage and we know where everything is. Don't move any of it. We have a system, even though it's organized chaos.
Right, right.
I put it back where it belongs. Oh crap. I don't know where that is. I just know where I found it. I know where I put it. You're those people.
I'm the type that thinks I'm gonna put something away somewhere special so I don't so I remember where I put it, and then I can't remember where I put it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
been there. Yeah, it's in the last place I look. I just got to start there next time. So if we're allowed to win, if we're given, validation, reward, acknowledgement, and it seems kind of simple, but it's not. It's not like it's not like pandering to children. It really is about if you want the person, the man, the masculine in your life to thrive, figure out what he needs and then like align that and he'll work like a dog. He'll literally work himself to death to provide if he knows that he can win.
Yeah.
And so it's just, honey, this was fantastic. This was amazing. And, I love all the hard work you put into it.
So what happens if you ask a man what he needs and he doesn't really know? Or
Yeah.
do men mostly like know?
Well, that's a loaded question because
Yeah.
we might know exactly what we need. We might not, but often we know. But do we trust you? There's two pieces. Do we trust you to tell us, for us to tell you what we need, and then you'll actually take action on it and do the thing versus weaponize against it. It's like,
Oh yeah.
oh, you want this thing? Okay, well, I need this and this and this, and then I'll give you that. And
Uh-huh.
when we get in that negotiation, it's like, then I can't tell you what I need because you're going to withhold it from me or you're going to put conditions on it. Then what you're telling me is you're not safe to be real with you. Right? I'm not a big fan of the word vulnerable,
Hmm.
but I'll say real. And I'm just going to be real with you about what's going on. And then you're going to weaponize it against me. Now I know you're not an ally or an
Yeah.
asset.
Hmm. And that
You're
probably happens quite a bit where it turns into kind of like a little dangle here,
Mhm.
if you want this, then,
Right.
there's a condition tied
Hmm.
to it sometimes.
Yeah. And now my needs are being held hostage.
Hmm.
So I'm not going to play with you, or I'm going to put you in a place where I know I can't fully trust you.
Yeah.
But I made promises, I made commitments, I'm gonna honor my obligations, my feelings don't matter. So I'm just gonna do the thing because I made the promise or I made the commitment.
Hmm.
Now the other side of it is a guy may know what he needs, but he might not believe he deserves to have it
Okay.
because the way masculine figures out deserves, we go through a math that we're not even fully aware of for most of us. And it's all the good we've ever done minus all the harm we believe we've caused that we haven't forgiven ourselves for. And there's 2 points on that because it's the harm we believe we've caused. We might not have actually caused any harm, but we believe we've caused harm.
Hmm.
And then there's the and we haven't forgiven ourselves for. So
Wow.
that's like open damage. So whatever the positives minus this other stuff, whatever that balances out to, that's what we believe we deserve, and we will not ask for more than that. And then we won't ask for what we need and deserve from somebody that we judge to have things harder than we do.
Wow.
So if our wife, our woman, is venting and complaining about her day and she's got so much stuff going on, our instinct is to go to problem solving and support and like, what can I do to kill that threat? And now I can't ask for what I need because God, she's got so much going on. She's got so much happening for her. Yeah, we'll deal with my stuff later. It's fine. We just got to get this taken care of for her. This is why guys don't go to the doctor. This is why guys don't like get checked out and do the things we need to do because we're so wired into protect and provide that we're looking out for everyone else and we forget about our own stuff until it
Wow.
gets to the point like something catastrophic happens.
Yeah. And then it's like a whole bigger mess, that needs to be. But even just hearing that little bit in there, kind of like I'm going to probably learn so much from our conversation today, like really about the deserving and I'm being such a go-getter and I always got things on my plate and I'm going that and I've been in that mode for years that it's
Hmm.
really kind of hard to think about the other person
Right.
when I'm just venting, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Because well,
mhm,
you've got the feminine will kind of just collect and collect and collect and collect until literally there's just no room left, and then it all bubbles over.
mhm.
Right, and then there's, like, this word vomit of just thoughts and feelings and emotions and experiences and observations and needs and wants and doubts and insecurities and concerns and plans and plots. Like, there's this huge litany of stuff, and it's just kinda spewing out, and the masculine's going, "Okay, what's the point? What's the problem? What's the point? What's the problem?" We're trying to get to the what's the I gotta remember all of this. Wait, we went to where? We did what? With who? And then, wait, it was what season? Okay, and it was what color? Okay, and we're like like, after most guys, after about 5 to 10 minutes, like, they're fried, and it's like, "I don't know what the hell we're talking about. I don't know."
And then we're like, "You never pay attention."
Yeah, because 'cause we're fried, and we literally can't contain so many details. This is the it's called a meta report, and it's just this vomit of thoughts and feelings, all this amazingness that you wanna share with us about how rich and expressive and expansive your world is and all the amazingness, and we're like, "What?
Yeah,
What do I need to remember? What do I need to take action on? Nothing, nothing. I just wanna tell you about my day."
yeah, right,
Okay.
right.
And like deer in the headlights, thousand-yard stare, like, I don't know what just happened. I got run over with a thing, and I can't hold on to any of it. And then we feel bad because then there's like we think there's something in there that was like really important that was being communicated and we missed it, and now we're mad at ourselves. And again, it goes back to the all the harm we believe we've caused that we haven't forgiven ourselves for. Well, she said something, but I don't know because we don't know how to say my brain is full. Can you stop? Or I've got only so much time or only so much energy. You've got me for 10 minutes, go.
Mhm,
And what do you want me to say at the end of it?
mhm,
If
mhm.
you did that for us, so many couples would be happier. Okay, I'm gonna tell you about my day, and at the end of it, I want you to say, "Wow, that's a lot, but you're amazing, and I know you can do it."
And that's it. Like,
Okay.
that's all. I don't need you to solve nothing. I don't need you to fix nothing. Just
Yep.
tell me I'm amazing and
Yeah.
give me
I
yeah.
believe in you. I know you'll get this. It's when I coach men, I have to like dude, did she ask you to solve the problem? Well, no, but I just see that. Oh, you can't coach without consent.
Mhm,
Do not solve her problem unless she asks you, "Hey, babe, I got this thing. I'd love to get your opinion on." Right? That's like a magic phrase for masculine because we're like, "Oh yeah, opinion. Gotcha. My whole life experience for this one question. I got you. Let's do this." And then you ignore what we say. And then it's like, say that I'm
I
not
love
going to give you advice because I told you what to do based on my years of experience and knowledge and understanding, and you dismissed it because it was just words to you versus no, this is coming from my decades of experience and the very essence of my being. And for you to disregard it is to disregard me.
That's huge.
So I'm not going to tell
That's a
you.
huge point you make there because when we ask, I mean, we do that in general. If you ask somebody for their opinion and then you hear it, but then you do your own thing anyway, it's kind of like, why did you use my time up if you really didn't value it? But when
Right.
it's the relationship, when it's your partner, it's that's got to cut a little bit deeper than
Absolutely.
that for sure. Wow, we got Jose on here
Escobar, yeah, in the
saying Jeremy in
house.
the house. Glad to be here. Good to have you here. So so that's a starter point.
Mhm.
Like, I need to talk about this. I need you to listen to me, and here's how I want to end this conversation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
a
yeah.
starter point.
Well, and a lot of times too, "Hey, I just need you to listen to me for a minute." And this goes for men and women, but I just need to vent. I just need a verbal diarrhea. I just need to think this out loud. I'd love for you to just kind of listen. Let me know what pops up for you. I don't know that I'm trying to solve anything as so much as it's just trying to work through something.
Yeah.
And just by pre-framing the conversation for your partner, it's like, okay, I have an idea of how to show up
Mhm.
versus just come in and bleh, what do you think? And it's like, I know to ask my wife, am I in problem solving mode or listening mode?
Mhm.
Because like that filters. I've got decades of experience coaching. Like I've got lots of strategies and I can do lots of cool stuff. Is that what she needs from me right now?
Right.
And hot tip is if she can't tell you, then you're in listening mode. Because that's like basically just shut up and listen. See what well, wow, that's a lot going on. Is there anything really important that's pressing on you the most right this second?
Mhm. Mhm.
Or what feels closest to your heart, or where do you feel called or pulled or pushed to serve or show up? Like there's ways to kind of help contextualize, but if you can just tell your partner ahead of time, look, I just need to think this through, and at the end of it, I just need you to just not even try to solve it, just
Yeah.
say, wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, just give me the space to get it out. Now, I've heard where we think in pictures.
Mhm.
We like listen with our ears, we think in pictures, that sort of thing. So, how important is it when you're communicating with your partner to be able to paint the picture of how you're feeling? Because sometimes words can mean different things to different people. Like, how important is that?
Yeah, yeah. So actually, let's take that sideways
Okay.
because Some yeah, we kinda think in pictures, but not everybody processes the same way,
Mm-hmm.
and so let me write down VACKOG.
Okay.
I don't know if that's gonna come through reverse on camera, but VCOG? Yeah, it's reversed on
Okay.
my camera, but
Yeah.
VACKOG.
Okay.
Visual, see it. Auditory, hear it. Conceptual, think of it.
Mhm.
Kinesthetic, feel it. Olfactory, smell it. And gustatory, taste it.
Okay.
So those are the primary six systems of how stuff gets inside of us. And we
Mhm.
store data and we encode data. Like, is there a food that when you taste it or you smell it when you walk in the house instantly reminds you of the holidays?
Mhm. Mhm. Or my
Right?
grandma,
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, family memories, right? So
Mhm.
that's an olfactory reference, right?
Okay.
Now, if you're, like, doing math and you're, like, smelling the numbers, there may be a problem going on there. But that visual, auditory, kinesthetic, conceptual, those are the 4 primary
Okay.
communication and learning systems. So, if you're visual, I gotta make sure you see it, but if you're
Mhm.
auditory, I gotta make sure it sounds right. And if you're
Mhm.
kinesthetic, it has to feel comfortable or feel smooth or be able to get a handle on it or wrap your head around it.
Mhm.
And if it's conceptual, it has to be like you understand it, right? You get the concept. You could see the understanding. So there's different phraseology we can use
Okay.
to create different types of metaphors to help enter somebody else's world, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
I put together a course once upon a time called Finally Getting Your Kid to Listen
Okay.
because I had a family, mom, dad, daughter. Daughter's 8 years old, parents are parents, and they are visual. I'm sorry. They are auditory. So whenever there's a problem, they got to talk about it. And their son, who's 5 years old, is visual and kinesthetic. He has to
Okay.
see it, he has to feel it. So when there's a problem, three-quarters of the family sits down to talk, and the 5-year-old is melting in the chair because it's so boring and I
Yeah.
don't understand and nobody cares. And he could get labeled with some
Yeah.
sort of affect or some sort of defect when
Yeah.
realistically he just can't create the picture in his mind of the words they're using.
Mhm.
And I met with them at a restaurant and I had his attention for 45 minutes because as I was talking, I was using the salt pepper shaker and I was drawing pictures and I was using silverware and I was asking him questions about every 4 minutes or so.
Mhm.
But I kept him engaged for 45 minutes, no fidgeting, no twitching, no
Wow.
distraction, because I recognized his learning system,
Mhm.
visual kinesthetic, and I just mapped into it as I'm auditorily explaining to them. I'm
What's
showing
going
him
on? Wow.
and asking him things to get him to feel his way to the answer. And then I'm also giving the parents a chance. Let him come to the answer. Give him a second to feel his way there.
Mhm. As because
Because
in that point, if they talk things through, they're probably wanting to answer for him or come in with, the sentence first or speak for him in that moment.
correct, they're trying to be helpful and they went from essay to multiple choice. And now he's like overwhelmed with choice. And this happens for a lot of masculine, a lot of men. You ask us our opinion, we're gonna get you the best possible answer that we're capable of given whatever parameters. So mentally, we got to like go to the well and run the bucket down and get the water and bring it back up and then look at it before we bring it back and tell you about it.
Okay, that's
Now, when our wife asks us a question, we got to go through that whole process and we take a long time. And then she's like, I asked you, why aren't you telling me? Why aren't you answering me? So then she'll ask the question again. We're still doing the same process. Then she'll think we didn't understand the question, so she'll reframe the question.
okay.
And now we have two different constructs because we had
Ah,
question A and question B. Now we got to cross reference them. We still haven't given her an answer. We're still taking too long. So then she goes to multiple choice. And now we've got to compare her multiple choice answers to the two different answers from the two different constructs that she started. And we're just because we're trying to get to the best. You will never hear a masculine person say, yeah, I said that, but I didn't mean it. Because
mhm.
for masculine, it's like we got to give you the best. And feminine is just whatever. Just I mean, I just want an idea. It's not that big a deal. Feelings matter to feminine the way ideas matter to masculine. So like masculine core is in the head, feminine core is in the heart.
That's big right there. Feelings matter to feminine
Hmm.
the way ideas, or what was it?
Yeah, ideas and opinions matter
Mhm.
to
To
masculine.
masculine. That's
Yeah,
that's a big piece right there.
yeah,
That's a nugget right there. People need to grab onto. So when you
yeah.
start working with
It's
people initially, like, do you have to identify like how they process first? Like what's a like if there's a couple that comes to you or a family that's coming to you that feels like they're in total disarray and it's just not going well, like where do you even start?
Just start by asking questions.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
how they answer starts to reveal learning systems, communication patterns, leadership style,
Okay.
influential leader versus positional leader,
Mhm.
aligning vision and values, overriding the way they process time, because I'll ask a question and the time it takes to answer, or the time it takes to get to a thought. How do they answer for each other? Like all of that is very telling
Mhm.
because my original background is as a martial artist, and we say all the time in fighting, like the body can't lie, right? Put somebody under stress. So I used to do an exercise when I would do like a self-defense workshop where we would put someone in the middle and they have to close their eyes
Okay.
and they have to stay where they are. Like someone is going to grab their wrist and try to move them towards an exit, and you have to break free and get back to the center of the room, and you're only allowed to take one step. So you can move one foot, but you can't move both. If you move both, you lose.
Okay.
And what I observed over time with that is the way people react to that drill is a lot the way they argue. So
Oh,
I had a mom and a daughter in the program, and the daughter got grabbed, and we're taking her, taking her out of the room. And so she sinks her center of gravity. She lowers herself as much as she can, and she's pulling back against the person moving her, which when you root yourself and you resist, you actually make yourself into an easier thing to pull, because as you create resistance, you now have there's a leverage point. And I
okay.
turned to the mom and I said, "So when she gets angry and argues with you, she digs her heel in and just beats the same point over and over again, doesn't she?" And the mom looked at me and was like, "How did you know that?"
Uh-huh.
I was like, "Look at how she's doing that with her body right now, because that pattern is in her nervous system. It's going to show up." So through the workshop, we teach when someone grabs you, right? Because when you grab someone, you're grabbing yourself because this hand is used up. It can't do anything else.
Okay.
So if you twist your wrist, then instead of fighting and resisting and making something to hold on to, you just change the angle and you can spin out of a grab. And sometimes you got to use two hands because they're like ridiculously strong. But if you can rotate the point of contact several times, it's really hard to hold on to. So if you can learn to change your mind under stress, change
Mhm.
your focus under stress, not change your end result, but change the process, as we drill that with the body in the martial arts school, we would begin to see that show up in the family dynamic, in the
Wow.
relationship under stress, because you're building new pathways in the brain. So under stress, you run the different pathway because there's less resistance.
Nice.
Mhm.
Nice. That makes me want to go in the middle of a room and see what I do, you know?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun because people reveal who they really are. It's like there's a line in like the Matrix 2, I think, where it's like if you want to find out who somebody is, fight them. And it's like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
100% true.
So how
Because
do you that makes me think like right away, just from my personal experience and people that haven't followed me for a while know, like, does coming out of a toxic relationship that I was in, and I mean it was bad, it was emotional, toxic. Does that change you, like the way that you process things? Like I think of myself of how I felt like that puppy that was afraid of the hand being raised. I didn't look at it as like getting excited, I'm going to get a treat. I looked at it like I'm going to
mhm,
hunker down. And so, but I wasn't always that way. So
right,
it's like how do you maneuver back if you almost feel like that's been changed in you? Do
right.
you ever see that in people?
Oh yeah, keyword is feels like,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Because what happens in our brain, we build networks,
Hmm.
right? And you could think of them like the way a river gets cut into the soil, or the way lightning forks through the sky, or the way that tree roots grow, right? Because you've got dendrites and you've got the neurons that spread out and they connect and they build these patterns. So whatever gets reinforced gets stronger. Like the more emotional content we can put into a pattern or a behavior, like the thickering the wire gets, and the thicker the wire, the less resistance to electrical signal, it travels faster. So like the idea of 21 days to build a new habit, yeah, possibly. If you took 21 days of energy and put it into 5 minutes, you could wire your nervous system in 5 minutes. I've done that with people. If we could put 10,000 units of energy, 10,000 days of energy and passion and purpose and vision, and the result is I'm going to die if I don't achieve this. Like we could wire that into somebody so strongly, we can fry out other stuff.
Mhm.
So you could think of like a pathway. Let me grab another. So we've got like A and B, and you've got a pathway that runs basically like that.
Okay.
And then we want to change that pathway, and we're going to go to option C. We're going to start the same A, and we're gonna move along, but we come down A, and then we gotta like interrupt and move over to C.
Mhm.
Well, there's a momentum and a tension and a possibility to go back to B just because the wiring is stronger, it's thicker. And we got this one little string. Because if you've done A to B in orange and you've done it like hundreds of times, thousands of times,
Mhm.
you're gonna have this really thick wiring.
Right.
So then to change the behavior, it's difficult because we have to make the one pattern extinguish and then shift to the other pattern. So what we can install in here, right about here, is we would just install a pattern interrupt. We need
Uh-huh.
to break this association so that when you go this way, we kill this bridge across to like wire this new direction in a new
Yep.
way. So
Yep.
like somebody gets into a pattern or a story and they like go into a victim mode and they're just like they're really associating to the past and their powerlessness and da 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 da. And then you like splash cold water on them right in the middle of the story, right as their emotion is building, and you just splash water. It's like, oh, what? No. Huh? Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I misunderstood. Please tell me again. And you get to and they start to go back in the story, and right as they get to that same exact spot, you hit them with water again. It shocks them. It shocks the nervous system. It breaks that association because now you're starting to wire in that emotional peak is hitting, and you hit them with the water to interrupt it.
Mhm.
And it's like, whoa. So now the third time they go to do it, they get to that same point. They kind of look at you to see what you're going to do with that bottle of water. You just kind of like, tap yourself with the bottle of water, and they're like, whoa. That's how we begin to change those patterns because the nervous system can be retuned, right?
Okay.
There's all this talk out in the world about triggers,
Mhm.
which is helpful, but triggers only work if your nervous system has anchors to
Yeah.
fire off.
Mhm.
If you take away the anchor, the trigger becomes meaningless because there's no association internally. And some of that can be hardwired, and some of that you can just choose a different, more meaning,
Mhm.
more powerful meaning or a more powerful interpretation. And then we reinforce that and wire that in. We tell that new story. Emotionally, we feel it. We begin to hypnotize ourselves into a new belief system.
Into a new
Because,
belief system.
yeah,
Mhm.
because beliefs are just made up. They're BS, right? It's just, we know this is true because we have these references. Cool. So let's change that stuff.
And it's almost like the initial the awareness, like maybe somebody doesn't even realize they're saying the same story again and again. It's just what they live, it's just where they've been comfortable
It's their
until,
normal.
yeah, it's their normal until
Yeah.
somebody does splash that water, and it's just like,
Yeah.
let's move on from it. So it's like a new awareness that now they can see and they can have. We
Yeah.
have Mandy Robinson here saying hi, folks, and we have Charles Princeton. He's tuning in from Hawaii.
Oahu. Yeah.
Aloha. Yep.
This
So we
show
got
rocks.
any
Love it.
any comments, any questions? Please drop them down. So
Well, hold
so
on. So right there, talking
yeah.
about that awareness, right? As I,
Yes.
I say all the time, awareness is a key. It opens a new door because
Mhm.
we are a self-aware system. Once we become aware, we now have the choice. So when we get locked into those stories that have a high meaning to us, but they're a form of I can't because difficulty, pain, challenge, limitation, limiting belief. The way to think of that, or one way to think of that, is imagine you went to the movies and you spent your money, and you bought your popcorn, and you went in and you sat down in the movie, and it was like the most miserable experience, the horriblest, stupidest, dumbest movie. Like as you're watching it, you feel your brains like leaking out of your head and
Yeah.
getting stuck to the floor. And it's so bad, you get up and you walk out halfway through the movie. Now, a year or two later, you're home watching TV and you see that movie's online, you see the movie's coming up. Are you going to waste your time watching it? Or are you going to watch something else?
Yeah. Okay, we'll probably watch something else.
But how many times do people tell a story about a situation that was horrible and painful and difficult, but they keep telling that same story? They
Yeah.
keep going back to that same crappy movie
Mhm.
over and over and over again.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's because that story is meeting their needs on some level, and the only way to change that story is to find a larger, more powerful Spaceballs. How dare you? How dare you? I see
Yeah.
your Schwartz is as big as mine. It's an amazing movie. I'm
Oh,
surrounded
that's
by
funny.
assholes. It's such a great movie. I categorically cannot agree. It was an amazing movie. Did you find
Spaceballs.
anything? Man, we ain't found. This is the best. So, but I was also like in middle school when it came out. So,
Yep, yep. So was
but
I. I remember being dropped off. We would get dropped off at the movie theaters for like the day, just go
hmm
watch all kinds of movies, and that was our
yeah,
babysitter for the day. And
yup,
Spaceballs was one at that time. So,
dude, that movie rocks. I'm in a happy
so
place.
what is the name of your book? What is your name? The name of your book?
My book is. Oh, it's right here. Your best child ever. Is this game worth winning? And then the
Okay,
big fancy, how to raise a stable, centered, respectful, self-disciplined, confident, self-motivated, self-directed, successful, wise, wealthy, safe, healthy, and happy child for the complete or not so complete beginner. The owner's manual of children for parents, grandparents, caregivers, guardians, teachers, and coaches of children of all ages. So the next time someone says kids don't come with an owner's manual, there you go.
there it is. There it is.
It's not a maintenance manual though, because at this point when I wrote it, I hadn't changed diapers, I hadn't dealt with colic or any of that stuff. But it is about psychology. It's about how do
Okay.
you create a win-win game? You feel good, they feel good. And it works with your partner because your partner is somebody's child also.
Ah, good point there. There's a. I'll definitely want to get the link of where we can get that.
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
Because there's already a couple people that I would like to actually get one for that. I just think it would be a good book to have. Plus, I have kids too, so definitely worth a read. So when we talk about what makes men tick, okay, um, that we had a conversation a few days ago, and we got into the cheating topic, the cheating
Mhm.
subject. I like to talk about that cheating subject just again from experience. I feel good. I'm happy today, but I know that there's people that get stuck in that space of no self esteem, no self confidence. But we kind of talked about cheating on from the man's perspective. I want to just kind of elaborate on that because I think it's a common topic nowadays and it touches a lot of people. So, what I'm trying to remember exactly how you had said there was like a reason or like the man will cheat. How did you
Yeah.
say that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So here's the first thing. Cheating is wrong. If you cheat, you are pathetic.
Mhm.
Stop that shit. End
Yep.
the relationship and move on with your life. Like there's no excuses. I don't care what the justification, I don't care what the rationalization,
Yep.
right? That being said, it is a human thing to want to be wanted and to want to be needed and to feel like there's space for you, right?
Mhm.
What we
Mhm.
were talking about, there's a clip running around on social media, and it's this woman, and she's tearing into this guy, and she's like, she's not younger than me, she's not prettier than me, she's not this than me. So why did you cheat? And
Mhm.
the guy's like, because she's peaceful,
Mhm.
right? She doesn't make me wrong. Like guys want to go where they are wanted, where they are received, where they are accepted, where they get to be the hero, where they are acknowledged for their contribution,
Mhm.
right? And if a guy does a thing and his partner is not satisfied or not happy, like even if it's 95% accurate, that 5%, like it hurts. It
Mhm.
hurts to never win, to never be adequate, to never be good enough, to never be at that level, to always be emasculated, always be criticized. Quick sidebar: you can't be emasculated without your own permission,
I'm
right?
gonna
You
write
have
that down because we'll come back on that topic here in
yeah,
a little
you
bit too.
because the only way that happens is you've got to give up your power. Like you cannot. It's like the same thing. Someone can't insult you without your permission. They can't disrespect you without your permission.
Yeah.
They can look like an idiot. They can
Mhm.
say things inappropriately. They could just whatever. But like, oh, you disrespected me. It's like, nah, I have to care about your opinion, and I don't, because obviously
Yes.
you're wounded, or obviously there's something going on with you, and you're just taking it out on me, and that's fine. I'm more than man enough to handle it.
Yep. Yep.
Um, but the whole getting into cheating, needs aren't being met, feeling worthless, and for guys specifically, why is it a guy will often cheat with a younger woman? Because she is open, she's receptive, she admires, she wants to hear his opinions and his thoughts and his feelings, and she wants to receive and she wants to accept. And when a couple has been together for a long time, a lot of times there's a lot of expectation, a lot of unmet obligations, a lot of recrimination because, well, this one time, remember that one time 15 years ago that you left the toilet seat up and I fell in and got wet? It's like in a new situation or a new person, he hasn't made that mistake. He doesn't have it being rubbed in his face.
Mhm,
So the cheating for a lot of guys, they don't mean for it to go that far. It's just nice to feel appreciated. It's nice to feel wanted. It's nice to feel like somebody likes me
mhm.
versus I'm the reason for your every misery and unhappiness, and your life would be so much better without me because all you do is criticize, all you do is emasculate, all you do is punish, which in my world, because of all the work I've done and because of the work that I do do with others and for others, if a woman is giving you that kind of energy, her
Mhm,
heart is breaking and she's screaming for you to show up better. She's just kicking in the balls to get your attention
mhm.
because she doesn't know what else to do. She doesn't know how else to capture your time and attention except to become a problem,
Yeah,
because being nice didn't get her the result she wanted. So now she's going to be a shrew, to borrow from Shakespeare. So I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to have part of this conversation and share
yeah,
it with another audience, because I don't do fault, blame, guilt, shame.
yeah, yeah.
I look at patterns and I look
Mhm,
at behaviors come from somewhere. They come from a good place in their core, even if they're monstrably, executed. She's doing all of these things. She cares that you know what she's feeling. She cares that you know what she's going through. But in life, you either get a loving response or a cry for help. And if they're not giving you a loving response,
mhm.
then you know they're not in a good place. And now you
Now,
have to
is this a good place for like the love languages thing to pop up?
it can be, yeah.
Like is there a place where you think that you're not giving love, but it's just because you need some, like the person that gives gifts, they don't care if they're spending any time around you or not, but every time they do come around, it's like here's another present, and you're
Mhm.
like, I don't want the present, I just want you to sit with me on the
Yeah,
couch. Like, does that kind of maybe
that
start
can
a
be.
disconnect somewhere?
It
Mhm,
does. It
mhm.
absolutely does. It's a miscuing, right?
Yeah.
Because we tend to give love in the way we want to receive it.
Mhm,
Right? So if we're an acts of service person, then we will do acts of service for others and then get resentful when they just take what we do and they never reciprocate. We never
uh-huh,
told them that that's what we like.
yeah,
We never told them, "Hey, it means a whole lot to me. When you rub my back, I feel so loved and I feel so connected."
mhm,
Because I'm like a physical touch, acts of service kind of guy. Like if you don't communicate that, but if you listen for when they're in an emotional storm, they'll tell you. Very often they will tell you where the breakdowns are
mhm,
if you know how to listen and not take it personally and not make yourself wrong or make them wrong,
mhm.
because
And I
they'll
think
tell
that's
you.
key right there. Not make yourself wrong and not make them wrong. It's like it's all real and it's all happening. It's
Mhm.
not, that wrong or blame or how dare you or now I don't even like you. It's just this is how it is and we got to work through it, right?
Right, right, and that I would even say that's how it is right now or
Yeah.
in this moment,
Yeah.
because it's all data points and trend lines,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? Because a lot of people like to jump to conclusions. That seems to be the only exercise they get, and I'm like, well, you need 3 data points.
Johnson English.
Yeah,
I love it.
I used to do it myself. That's how I know. But it's like you need 3 data points to notice a trend line, but then you can pivot a trend line in 2 data points because you can change momentum, but it takes repetition. The thing guys have to understand is, and I hammer on this for my clients because they're like, well, she said I haven't changed. It's like, yeah, she's testing you, because how you respond to that quote unquote attack reveals where you are and how much you've grown, because it's not about change. If you're changing for her, that's manipulation. She can't trust you. If you're growing
Mhm.
for yourself and her, but if you're growing and expanding and becoming more, then you'll continue that with or without her input. She can trust you. If you're only doing changes just to get her back, that makes her be the driver of your behavior, and she doesn't want that. It's exhausting to have to micromanage, or to have to, well, everything I do, I have to like be mindful of him and tell him and da da da. So it's like No, 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 she's telling you where she is and what she needs, you just gotta figure that out.
Mhm. Because in that area with all the things that how we talked about, she comes and dumps down of everything that's going on and she's got to handle, it's almost like now that's another thing,
Right.
like now I'm almost responsible to make sure that you're, or not responsible, but it's almost like just another thing to feel
Yeah. Well,
kind of, yeah,
it puts him on her list of things to do,
yeah.
and now that expectation, obligation, she's no longer an asset or an ally in her world
Hmm.
because he's an energy drain, not an energy addition. It's not energy enhancement. It's just, oh, and I gotta placate your ego. Oh, and I gotta like dance around things for you. Oh, and I gotta give you a gold star today. Like once she frames it energetically that way, like that's what kills polarity, that's what kills passion, that's what opens the door to cheating because
Hmm.
there's this expectation and this obligation on this other human being which should be equal partner with you. And then if you feel it's appropriate that they didn't meet your expectation, voiced or unvoiced, so you emasculate, you criticize, you diminish, you're just opening the door for someone else to come in.
Uh-huh.
Same thing for guys to understand when she's trying to share her day with you. Because I had a TikTok back in October that hit 2 million views. And I was talking about, what's her point? And I was talking about this idea of the Meadow Report and how feminine just kind of downloads. And I have literally thousands of women who are saying, the guy that they're with just doesn't want to hear it, can't be bothered, shuts them down. Why are you pastoring me? Why are you? And as I'm reading these, all it's doing is hurting my heart because I'm like, they just don't realize how important this is for her to be able to voice, to feel connected. And he's in his triangle and he needs transition time. And there's some unvoiced things he's got going on. He's not even aware he's doing,
Hmm.
but it's a lose-lose game between the two of them.
Wow. Wow.
And it's not from a lack of love.
Yeah.
That's the hard part.
And
It's just from
that is hard. Like that there's probably so many um relationships that crumble because just the information, and it's not lack of love, it's
yeah,
it's just not knowing how,
how to
or
meet each other's needs or how
mhm,
to voice your own.
yeah,
And he needs time to transition because if he walks in the door and then she's just going to lambast him with everything going on and the kids and the house and the chores and the thing and the thing and the thing and I've been doing this all day long and I need a break and da da da, and if she does this data dump on him, he's still in work mode,
yeah,
that's going to be a bad evening
yeah,
because now he's going to problem solve her, problem solve the kids, and he's going to be in work production mode, get shit done.
mhm,
He's not going to be humane. He's not going to be kind. He's not going to be gentle. He's not going to give two shits about anybody's emotions.
yeah,
It's just going to be
yeah, get it
I'm
done,
going
get
to
it done,
produce
get
the
it done.
results.
Hmm.
And the result is children are fed, they go to bed, they get their homework done. And it's so decisive. And then it's like, why are you so angry? He's not angry. He just has no positive emotions because he's producing a mother result.
Yeah.
And don't get in my way. Same thing, for women do the same thing when they're committed to producing a result. Don't get in the way of her process,
Hmm.
or you will be eviscerated. Whether it's load the dishwasher, it is do the laundry, it is produce a newsletter, whatever the deal. Like I know how to produce the thing, and if you get in my way, I'm going to tear you a new one.
Yeah. I think for me it's I've just been go 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 go, and that's
Yeah,
just how I roll.
yeah.
And
Well, you're in your triangle and you're producing
yep,
the results. You're deleting everything that gets in the way.
yep, yep,
And if that's how you have the evening, you come home from work and it's just bulldoze through and delete everything to get it done,
yep.
it's not a warm, big, happy experience for anybody. You
No,
know,
and I
le
think the thing that's important is that communication piece. It's me and just my two sons here in the home. It's just the
Mhm.
three of us. They're older, but I have found that even that of communicating with them to keep our household in flow of here's what I have tonight, here's my time availability,
Yep.
here's what you can expect to do for dinner, or we can all do dinner, but they know in advance, because if not, it interrupts that that place that my brain stays if when I'm
Yeah.
in that do and go. And so
Yeah.
add the whole family unit, and you've
Mhm.
got all of these people coming, into the one place. And if everybody's being interrupted and in that mode, it can be frustrating. I mean, it's
Right.
just frustrating. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's all this energy that the metaphor is a 5,000-pound flywheel, and it's spinning at 5,000 miles an hour, and you want it to pivot on a dime. It can, but it's gonna be real ugly. Because that all that momentum snaps, and it's like all that intensity just recoils into you, and it's like, "Oh god, what did I do? I'm so sorry.
Mhm.
I feel like the worst person ever." And again, it's not personal,
Yeah.
right? We're just operating in a certain mindset and a certain mode internally, and then to have that interrupted, right? When you get into a flow state, when you get into dialed in, right? You start to delete other stuff, you go into a hypnotic trance. And if somebody interrupts that, they become a lightning rod and all of that focus explodes into them. Not because you're mad, not because you're angry, but because you were so dialed in on what you were doing. It was literally like a lightning rod just sucked all this energy out and it went, poof, and you just, hey, brother. And it's like, oh my God. It's like, oh, no, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was 100% me. Sorry. I was this. So it's like, you have to like come, hey, are you available to talk? Just
Yeah.
checking. Like, don't touch them because the lightning rod thing, it's like in front of their visual field. Hey, okay, are you, could we talk in 10 minutes? Like,
Yeah.
there's ways to kind of negotiate that with each other to just because anybody gets in that dialed in triangular, delete everything else, single point
Mhm.
focus. It's a force to reckon with. And if you don't, and then it's like, oh, why are you so mad at me? Why are you so this? Why are you yelling?
Here's why, because you jolted me.
Yeah.
So I it was a couple months ago I started doing this like singles over 40, and just how messed up everything seems to be out there, and everything you read, and it's red flags here, so it was just this conversation that I opened up, and I couldn't believe the amount of people that were ready to have this conversation.
Hmm.
So when you're thinking of, because I still believe in commitment, I still believe in the beauty of relationships, and
Hmm.
all of it. It's a beautiful thing. What I have found in talking with women, especially in their early 50s,
Hmm.
is they're already going into it with this expectation that it's like they're not going to ever find the good guy
Yep.
or any of this stuff. How do you even begin to help older couples that are
Hmm.
looking to start a new relationship? Like you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Of course. Of course. Yeah. I got strategies for everything.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I think it's
well,
great. That's the way whoever's tuning in will get a little bit of something.
well, I have a client who is in her mid-50s, and she is when we got together, I knew her through martial arts school, and when I started working with her, she was in a relationship, and what she was describing to me and her tension, her anxiety, I kind of had a read on that this wasn't gonna go very far. And it didn't. It ended fairly soon, but there was a lot of intensity and, like, she had some clearly defined needs, had no problem voicing, "Here's what I need to be at my best, da da da." And this guy had been, like, twice divorced, and from what she was describing to me, he still has a wound with the feminine. His grown daughter lives with him when she's not in college and needs him a lot. And there's just some things that she told me in the way he sequences his life and his day. I'm like, I didn't tell her initially, but what she's describing is a man who has a wound with the feminine that's unresolved, and he's got a lot of projection, a lot of need for not getting hurt, protect himself, shut things down, very controlling, because he is where he is. But I affirmed to her, I'm like, look, there is somebody out there who you will meet, and he will think the sun shines out your butt 24/7. You will be just you, authentically being yourself. All the doubts, insecurities, fears, concerns, communication, over communication, whatever. He is going to think you are the most amazing person. And how has he never met you until now? And every other relationship prior to this was only to prepare him to have you in his life. Now, when I told her that, of course, she had all the reasons why that's not true, and she had all the defense mechanisms, all the stuff, and we had to work through some things that were coming up, and some stories and some things. Last update I got from her, she is now several months into dating a guy who pretty much thinks the sun shines out her butt 24/7, and every test and every barrier she has put up, he has walked through, not quite flawlessly, but he has stepped up and stepped in, and
Wow.
she's freaking out because she wants to get married again, and they haven't really talked about it, but, like, this guy's amazing, and he does all these things just naturally, and, "No, but Jeremy, you don't understand, da, da, da," and I'm like,
Mhm.
I have the recording of the session we did where I told you, because I know he exists,
Yeah.
because you're amazing,
Mhm.
he's out there, but you've got to get clear on who you are and what you want and what you need. And so I have a strategy I call 5 to Thrive that I got. It's a modification on something I learned from Allison Armstrong.
Okay. 5 to
But
thrive.
basically, number one, what do you need? Write it down.
Mhm.
And need, like, need to eat, need, like, if I don't get these things, I will die physically or existentially or emotionally, but I need these things.
Mhm.
And do not apologize for needing those things. That's who you are. She needs a text message every morning saying, "Good morning, beautiful."
Mhm.
That's what she needs to be at her best and have her best day. Fantastic. There is a guy who would love to wake up and have someone special that he could text message just to say, "Good morning, beautiful,"
Mhm.
because he thinks you're beautiful. And it would delight him to no end to know that him doing that lights you up
Yeah.
because he knows he scored points.
And there,
So,
and it's back to the scoring points.
yeah,
It's yeah.
guys are really simple sometimes. We just want to win. We want to be the hero. Let us be the hero. Like line it up. You line it up. We'll knock it out. Everybody's happy.
Love it.
So what do you need? That's the first question. And
Mhm.
need, like, I need this. If I don't get it, I'm gonna go manic. I'm gonna go crazy. I'm gonna
Mhm.
this, that, and the other. Cool. Own that.
Yep.
Do not apologize because
Yep.
that's who you are. Fantastic. Number two, what do you want?
Mhm.
Write that stuff down. And a want is, if I get it, that'd be awesome. I want that.
Mhm.
But I don't need to have it. I'm not gonna go crazy. I'm not gonna die some existential death without it.
Mhm.
Just, yeah, I want that. Because
Mhm.
you could get your wants met by this person or some other way, because wants are negotiable. You're not going to be diminished without them. Needs, you're kind of messed up and running on, like,
Yep.
less tires. So needs, wants. Number three, what would you love to give and what
Mhm.
would you love to receive?
Okay.
Because my wife and I, we were part of a men's group at one point, and then during COVID, we were doing like these meet and greets, and we would do like these tea party or wine party, whatever,
Mhm.
and we had the couples on, so we had the wives and the husbands, and she and I were on camera, and I'm just randomly massaging her feet because I'm like not thinking about it, but that's just kind of what we do when we're on the couch. I'll like rub her feet because I know she works hard and she stands on her feet a lot, and it's just a way for physical connection,
Mhm.
quality time, physical touch, like all a bunch of stuff, and evidently, I got a couple guys in trouble because they saw that and they weren't massaging their wife's feet.
Right.
I'm like, "Cool, so your wife told you how to win with her, so when are you massaging her feet?"
Mhm.
Because if as a guy, like, I wanna do this to make my wife feel good," and then she's like, "Oh, no, don't touch my feet, they're nasty. I haven't gotten this, I haven't gotten that, don't." So
Mhm.
if for one partner to do this thing, I would love to give this to you,
Mhm.
and for the other partner refusing to receive it ever is to diminish the capacity and the potentiality between the two of you.
That's huge. That's like a rejection.
It
Like a
is a
big
rejection,
mhm.
but it's not to make either one of them
Right.
wrong. It's to
Right.
say, "I would love to give this,"
Mhm.
right? Because then your partner can receive it, and then you get to there's a completion there. And then, but also, here's what I would love to receive. It's not fair that I'm giving all the things my partner wants to receive, but they give nothing I want to receive. Like that,
Mhm.
there's an imbalance there that will come back and bite you at some point.
Yep.
So that needs to be addressed. So if you have it on paper, here's what I need, here's what I want, here's what I would love to give, here's what I would love to receive. Number four, what are your musts?
Okay.
This absolutely must happen. This or that or the other. Whatever your musts are, write those down. And then these are my must nevers. Must nevers are not ultimatums. Must nevers are not negotiations.
Mhm.
They are simply, if this happens, we are done. There is no conversation. There is no, you know, misunderstanding. There none of that.
Mhm.
These are deal breakers. These are, well, I only get thrown out on the stair on Tuesday. The other 6 days of the week are fine. No, any type of stair throwing is a zero.
Yeah.
Any joking around stair throwing is a zero.
Yeah.
Like, my wife and I only have two rules in our marriage, which is be honest and stay out of the friend zone.
Mhm.
Like, I
Mhm.
don't need to tell her, "Hey, babe, like, like, no hard drugs, like, no heroin in the house, okay? Is that cool with you?" Like, because
Yeah.
neither of us do anything of the sort. Like,
Yeah.
we both smoked in our youth once upon a time, a long time
Once upon a
ago, but
time. Yep.
but that's, that's just not, we're active, we're healthy. So it's like, that's a
Mhm.
non-starter. Like,
Mhm.
that's completely a deal breaker. Like any kind of intravenous drug use, really any kind of drug abuse, I'm out. Like, that's not,
Yeah.
it doesn't jive with my values and who I am, and where I'm going. And I certainly don't want my kids around that.
Right. Right.
Right. And that's not to make, other couples and other patterns and other things, like, that's fine for them. This is
Mhm.
the container for me.
Yep.
So you've got your five to thrive. So now that you have it down on paper, when you meet somebody, like first date type of deal, you share your five to thrive,
Mhm.
because it's not about finding the one. It's about sorting through people who don't want to win with you.
Yeah. Mhm.
Because as soon as you identify any one of those five, they're like, nah, I'm out.
Yeah.
Cool.
Then
Thank
that
you.
then that saved a lot of time. Saved a
We can
lot
have,
of time, saved a lot of
yeah,
energy.
yeah, yeah. We're not putting an emotional investment in this.
Mhm.
It's not, well, I want to get to know you for 5 or 6 days before I share these with you. No, 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 no. We're going to sort through people who would never, ever be a good match, because the biochemistry is secondary,
Mhm.
right? That whole chemical feeling and the in love and, oh, you're so this and that.
Yep.
That's your biochemistry saying we would make fantastic babies. Our genetics go together really beautifully. That's
Mhm.
awesome. But let's get
Yep.
these five in alignment first, because the
Mhm.
chemistry piece, somebody who aligns with you on these five areas,
Yeah.
sex and intimacy is way easier, because there's so much,
Yeah, when you're aligned and
yeah, there's so much
mhm,
alignment and
for
flow.
sure.
And so that
Yep.
that five to thrive strategy, like, it's some work to put it down, and it takes some cojones to, like, own that and
Mhm.
say, here's my
Yeah,
deal.
it's a lot of you gotta look in the mirror on that one. You gotta look in the mirror and be comfortable to say, "This is what I
Yeah,
need, and this is what I want," because then I'm sure there's some underlying layers of, "But do I
yeah,
deserve it?" Right? I mean, there's probably some layers that depending on how difficult it is to answer those questions, you gotta ask, "Why?" Like,
right,
"Why? What else is
right.
there?"
Well,
Right?
usually the
And
easy answer is, I deserve this because I'm willing to give at the same level. And that's all you need to say, because you don't deserve a gift. You just receive it,
Mhm.
right?
Oh, that's
If
big too. That's
Well,
another
if you
nugget.
deserve a gift,
You don't
my
deserve a gift, you just receive
Emilio,
it.
that's a writer downer, right? I love him. Like, that's a writer downer. Like, but yeah, if you deserve the gift, it's not a gift. It's payment for services rendered. If
Mhm,
it's a gift,
mhm,
it's given freely from the heart. You just receive it, and then by
mhm.
by receiving it, you allow the giver. You receive it. Now that completes a cycle. Now you have the thing. Then you can decide what to do with it. You can regift it. You can
Yeah,
enjoy it. You could give it away. Whatever the case. But you can do it with a free and clear heart if you fully received it. If you didn't receive it, then you feel guilty giving it away because, oh, well, they gave me this thing, but I didn't. So you give them closure by receiving the
mhm,
thing they're giving, and acknowledge and validate, because it's not the thing so much as the heart and mind and soul that's giving it in the first place, and honoring that integrity and honoring that connection. Once you've done that, cool. Now this is mine. Do with it what I
yeah.
damn well please.
Well, and that kinda takes me to a place that you see and hear, we're kind of running low on time, but that takes me to a place where, like, you see the man trying to give a gift, something that he just thought was the nice thing, and she's almost looking at it like, are you kidding me? Like, what is this for? What do I do with this? Because she's being pulled in the million
Mhm.
directions. I mean, that, like, hearing all of this, that's huge. Like, that is a huge, I'm almost seeing it from his perspective
Right,
now,
right.
right? Like,
Well,
wow,
for
so
feminine,
this conversation's
well, thank you.
amazing.
I'm glad it served. But for feminine,
Hmm.
it's like she's got so much going on. For her to stop and be present to the gift and the impact, that's a masculine pattern, not a feminine pattern. Masculine's present, feminine is process. Right? Because
Yep.
feminine is the churn and the move, and like feminine never gets bored, masculine gets bored. And I separate out. That's why I say masculine, feminine. I don't say men, women, because women can be in their
Hmm. Hmm.
masculine as a defense mechanism,
Yeah.
as a natural state, as just an option.
Yep.
Because ultimately, it may not be masculine, feminine. It may be left brain, right brain. We're not 100%
Hmm.
certain. The
Hmm.
research is still, ongoing. But when people are in their masculine, when they're in that triangle, they operate and function different than when they're in their feminine. They're more open and they're in their circle. And it's just to appreciate, because when people are in a place of abundance, You get the best out of them and the best from them and the best for them. When they're in a place of scarcity, our instinctive drives, our survival instincts are all about self first. And so that's why the loving response or cry for help. Loving response, that's that abundance. Cry for help, that's the scarcity, that's the instinct. And so when we can appreciate what masculine brings to the conversation and appreciate what feminine brings, things get amazing.
The conversation changes.
Absolutely.
Like the conversation is wow, amazing. This has been amazing. I can't even believe our hour has gone by already. I feel like we just tipped into the surface of so many
Mhm.
things. But for those that are listening or catch the replay, and this will be up on YouTube and Spotify in a couple of weeks, it will be on Spotify. I'll share that with you. But for people, if they want to contact you, reach out to you, maybe they've got questions on if your services could help them, what's the best way for listeners to
Yeah,
reach
the
you?
the fastest is gonna be go to leadlikeaking.com
Leadlikeaking.com
slash
slash.
book
Okay.
hyphen now, and that'll get you 15 minutes on my schedule, and like we'll dig in on whatever's going on. Um,
Okay.
the
And I'll get that link
Mhm.
from you, and I'll be sure to post it so they
Yeah,
have that.
because that's really how people get into the sequence. I've got stuff on YouTube, I've got stuff on TikTok, and I've got stuff every freaking place. I'm the only Jeremy Roadruck on the internet, so it's really easy to find me. Um,
Okay.
and I'm not shy. Like I'm always
Yeah.
interested in adding value, and in my world, suffering is optional and self-generated because it's a belief system. It's tied into the belief we that things are going bad and we're in pain. That's real, but then the belief that we can't do anything about it, and that's like potentially we could. Let's see what's really
Yeah.
going on. And what I'll leave people with is the idea when you're in a hole, it's really, really hard to grab yourself by the scruff of your own neck and pull yourself out of an 8-foot hole. That's why it's important and beneficial to have coaches, have community, because you get other eyes, other hearts, other minds adding to your skill set and your repertoire to help you grow and expand.
And that is huge. Like that visual for
Mhm,
me to be able to see that is wow. I mean there are no words because I think sometimes when we have been in that survival mode, you think, no, I got this. I can do it. I'll figure it out. But when you see that,
mhm.
we would never expect to get ourselves out without how much faster and simpler, like to have that reach in and have someone help, like, so it's almost like we're choosing to just wear ourselves out and stay down in that bottom because it's going to be that much harder to climb out of that. That was, thank you for sharing that. That was a huge visual that will stay
Awesome.
in here. It'll stay in here when I think I can figure
Yeah.
it all out
Well,
on
when
my
you have
own.
someone outside of your hole, they can go get a ladder and stick it in the hole, you can climb out. I mean, worst
Yeah.
case, they just throw
Yeah.
dirt on you, you shake off the dirt, stand on it, eventually you'll get out. That's longer
Eventually
and
it'll.
slower. I'm like, "Go get a ladder."
Love it. Thank you, Jeremy, so much for sharing your time with me this
It's been a pleasure.
evening. And for our listeners, you gave so many nuggets, so much value. And I just know for as much as my mind was like expanded, I know that there's a lot of people that will gain great information from you tonight. So I appreciate you joining
Thank you
us.
for the opportunity.
And we will see you back here on Tipsy Lips next week, everyone. Thank you.
See ya.